gentlemen, thank you for standing by and welcome to the MBDA Virtual Substance Sandwiches webinar. My name is Gabriela Zambrano and I'm the director of the Houston MBDA Business Center. This is our 6th year offering substance sandwiches and our 1st year with McCarthy Building Companies. During today's webinar, attendees will be in a listen-only mode. There will be a Q&A session at the end of today's call. My colleague, Mark Craig, is going to monitor the Q&As. If you have any questions during the presentation, you may submit it online by entering in the Q&A panel. As a reminder, this presentation is being recorded. Now, I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Mark Craig and Deidre Sutton, Business Advisor, and our Office Manager, Jessica Vasquez. Our next MBDA event is Virtual Substance Sandwich with the Houston Independent School District. It will be held on Wednesday, August 12, 2020, beginning at 11:30 a.m. We will have the opportunity to learn on how to do business with HASD. Today, we have the pleasure to meet with McCarthy. This is how the event will go. The participants will introduce themselves and briefly describe what they self-perform in 30 seconds. So I will unmute you, call your name, and just be ready. Then the McCarthy Building Companies will introduce themselves and then make a presentation. And then we'll break into Q&As. So if you guys are ready, I'm going to be calling people. So again, like I said, please state your name and your company and briefly describe what your company self-performs. So we're going to start with Cherie Balsley. Are you ready, Cherie?
Sherry Balsley with Box Modular, and we supply mobile offices for construction sites.
Oh, welcome, Cherie. I hang up right before. Christina.
Hi, I'm Christina Anjanin, Vice President of WBS International. We provide commercial grade perimeter protection, including temporary construction fencing and gates, windscreen, water-filled barriers, and covered pedestrian walkways. We're certified as a DBE hub and a WBE business with the City of Austin.
Well, welcome, Christina. Thank you. David Lopez, are you ready? Hello, David. Are you ready to introduce yourself? No? Okay. I guess we're going to go to the next person. Kim Williams, are you ready to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Kim Williams. I'm with McCarthy Building Companies. I'm just here to listen in. A few of my colleagues are on the panel, so I wanted to join in. I'm part of the diversity team.
Oh, perfect. I can definitely make you a panelist if that's something that the McCarthy team, or if you're ready to be a panelist.
Kamisha's laughing because she knows I don't like to be on. I'll let them be on the panel list. I'm more of a
behind the scene. Got it. No worry about it. But thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate everybody supporting.
Yes,
thank you. Murtaza Badri, are you ready to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm Murtaza Badri. I'm Vice President of Key Recycling and Construction Services, and we specialize in demolition, site work, storm work, and some concrete as well when needed.
Thank you, Murtaza. Thank you, and welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Ray Wahardo, are you ready? Ray, are you ready to introduce yourself? Okay, I'm gonna go to the next person. Ruben Hernandez, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Ruben Hernandez, and we are with Dockside Construction. We're a general contractor here in Houston, and we can do service all around Texas. We are builders, and we do anything in the construction. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Sandra Stewart, are you ready? Sandra, are you ready? Okay. Okay, well, I guess for now, this is it. I see, I'm sure people are going to come in, but we're going to continue with the presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kamisha Mason. Kamisha?
Hi, everyone. So good to get a chance to reach out and just kind of have a moment to talk to you about our program and how we approach inclusion and the project opportunities that we have. We'll spend a little bit of time introducing each one of our panelists, but you'll hear more about them in their sections. And then we'll talk about our overall inclusion program. And then, as I mentioned earlier, lastly, our project opportunities. I've been with McCarthy just a little bit over a year now. And so I'm going to let Judah do the fun job of kind of just walking you through who we are as an organization. Next slide.
So I'm Judah Auld. I've been with McCarthy about 15 years now. I'm our Vice President of Pre-Construction. I oversee our commercial pre-construction in Houston and Dallas, and really the state of Texas. Adil, who you meet in a minute, oversees our civil and marine and industrial side work. A little bit about McCarthy. We're a nationwide contractor. 2,000, a little over 2,000 full-time salaried employees, and we also, self-perform quite a bit of work nationwide as well. With around 2,500 weekly hourly employees. We are 100% employee owned. Very proud of that. So everyone on this call is an employee owner of the panelists, and so we think that drives a little bit of value there. Like one of the folks on the phone said, we are builders. We believe that's important. We're not just out here to subcontract a bunch of work and manage it. We want to be a part of the process. So we focus on concrete, earthwork. Adil will get a little bit into what we do on the industrial side, but we do some piles and things over there as well. And then in other parts of the country, we do perform electrical scope, mechanical scope for various trades. So just kind of depends on the part of the country and the need there, but we do self-perform quite a bit. This is $3 billion in annual revenue. We're closely approaching $4 billion. And I think this year we're on pace to do about $5 billion in sales. So quite a bit of volume there. Next slide kind of shows you our mix of market. So the big chunk of pie there in red is healthcare, and that's kind of nationwide. It used to be more like 40 or 51%. It's kind of shrunk down a little bit, and we're focusing on some of the areas of the pie. We definitely like a nice diversity of mix to tide us over. So if one is down, usually something else is up on the industrial or institutional side of the mix. And so these are the markets that we tend to chase, and it's held us over in some of this recession, because some of the work that's fallen off, you'll see that we're not big on hotels or office buildings. They don't make up a big mix of our piece. So when those tend to fall by the wayside, sometimes with the economy, we are okay with healthcare and some of the other businesses that we're in. And next slide.
All right. So in terms of our community outreach and inclusion department, right now we are a team of 2. For some reason, my name says Jeremy Shaw, but Kamisha Mason, and I'll update that to my actual contact information. And then also Kim Williams, who supports our estimating team as well as as our diversity and inclusion team. Next slide. A little bit about our culture of inclusion. I know that as you all participate in a ton of these subs and sandwiches, you'll hear a lot of folks talk about setting goals, and we certainly do that. We set a project-specific inclusion plan at the start of each one of our projects. What that means to us is we're not assigning a global goal, but we're looking at things from a project-by-project perspective. What are the trade opportunities? How can we assess packages? What type of outreach could we do, should we be doing in order to make sure that we are hitting our targets? We assign a numerical goal to that, but we also assign a capacity building goal to that. And that could be anything from we're going to put together a series of courses to we are working with these new firms and they've identified these areas where they would like to grow. And so we create a capacity building goal very specifically for that project. So all of our inclusion plans are two-part: numerical and then that community impact piece. Our leaders from top to bottom are committed to our inclusion process, from our regional leadership all the way up to our corporate level leadership. Relationships are key to us. We understand and know that this is a relationship-based and driven business. We like to work with who we know and who we know will perform well for us. So not only is having a relationship with us important, but we really want to make sure that we use our outreach events as well as our projects as a means to develop strong, long-lasting relationships with our subcontracting and supplier community. Again, I've already kind of touched on that community engagement and capacity building piece. But the last thing that we want to be known for is really being opportunity creators. We want the market to know that every project that we approach, we are looking for ways to create opportunity for you to engage with us, relationship with us, and perform well with us. Next. So like front end work to do. We have a qualification process. You don't have to go back, no worries. You'll get the slide deck and you'll be able to have access to that link. There's key information that we look for, very similar to most of our competitors. We do want to know a little bit more about your business, having some sense of who your references are, and definitely where you sit from a financial perspective. It's always helpful. We do know that if you're a smaller business, having audited financials can sometimes be a little bit tricky. So certainly have conversations with us about that and let us know what you can do in terms of returns, your business tax returns. And then lastly, that health and safety piece is huge to us. McCarthy has a strong safety culture, and we'd like to know that the partners that we're working with mirrors that same type of commitment to safety. Next slide.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Adil Malik. I'm Chief Estimator in our Heavy Civil Marine and Industrial Group. I've been with McCarthy almost 7 years now. I've been down here in Houston about 6 out of those 7 years. Houston's home for me, so glad to be back home in Houston. So on our heavy civil marine side, we've got approximately 6 estimators there out of our Channel View office that focus solely on marine, industrial, and civil work along the Texas Gulf Coast. Our area pretty much encompasses from Port Arthur all the way down to Brownsville, and typically from Austin on south. The folks that we have on our team, Keisha Sullivan and Ken Hecker, they're kind of the anchors of the team. Alongside with myself, for those folks that need contact information, we can provide contact information for Keisha and Ken Hecker as well. Next slide, please. So a little bit about some of the projects that we've got going on that are upcoming this year. On our heavy civil marine side, we have the City of Pearland Barry Rose Water Treatment Plant. This project is a CMAR project valued at about $100 million. We anticipate starting pre-con on that probably late Q3, I would say right after Labor Day. We'll start the pre-con effort on that. The pre-con effort is supposed to be about 9 months or so. There will be some early works packages around site clearing, earthwork, some storm drainage that we're going to put out. I would imagine early Q1. And then the bulk of the packages will probably be Q2 to Q3 of 2021. Now, some of the scopes that we're looking on, not only that project, but most of the other projects that are listed on here, typically we're engaging the sub-community in demolition, tree clearing, SW3P, earthwork, utilities, concrete, rebar installation, asphalt, trucking, striping and signage, fencing, and electrical work. Those are typically the main components of the projects that we're overseeing. Over the last 5 years, just the heavy civil group has awarded over $80 million worth of subcontracts to small business, minority, women-owned companies within the past 5 years, just here in Houston alone. We are currently doing almost $500 million worth of work in the heavy civil group in Houston between the big Northeast water treatment plant expansion and several projects with Houston. So we've been a big presence down here. Some of the other projects that we have are Port of Houston related that are upcoming. The Port of Houston Bayport Wharf 6 job is anticipated to come out for bid here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Bids appear to be due middle of September. And again, the scopes that I kind of mentioned before are typically the opportunities that we're looking to subcontract out. I believe the small business goal on the Bayport Wharf 6 job is going to be 17%, and that is a pass-fail that we have to meet. Historically, we have exceeded that goal, and so we're going to be reaching out to the community just like we have in the past to make sure we're getting competitive numbers from everyone. The Port of Houston Container Yard 2 Mid-South project, that project's supposed to come out for bid late Q4 of this year. There's a significant amount of demolition, removal of concrete and asphalt. It's about a 20-acre site. And the other big components on there are really material supply from a cement treated base and some asphalt installation. Fencing too. Fencing, striping, and signage. Those are some other key components on that particular job. There are a couple of things when you're dealing with the Port of Houston that you have to kind of keep in mind, and that's just entry requirements into their facilities. And we kind of get into some of the specifics of that on each individual project, because they may be different depending upon where the project is located. And we'll be sharing that information once those RFPs come out for bid. The last project that we kind of have on our list as a major project that we're pursuing is over in Port Arthur. It's a Berth 6 project. It's supposed to come out for bid in October of this year. Construction anticipated to start in March of next year. And that job's probably going to be about a 2 to 3 year long project. And again, similar scopes like the Bayport Wharf 6 project, where we've got earthwork, utilities, drill shafts, concrete rebar, striping and signage that we're looking to get proposals on.
Commercial pre-construction. It's myself. I oversee the department, like I said, here in Houston and in Dallas. Andrew Rupp sees the day-to-day here in Houston. His contact information is there. And then we've listed out a few of our other estimators. Our estimators call for the various packages. After Andrew, I mean, I would get a hold of James Rickaway there. and they can kind of fill you in on what we see day to day here. Unlike a deal, and you can go to my next slide, it's very empty. We're in an unusual position. So we have 2 projects that that we have in, but they're under non-disclosure agreements. And so we're still in the early stages with those projects, and we're still working through with the owners to determine, the best way to solicit bids and move forward. Both of them, once they get a little further along, they will make some more public announcements and make more information available, and we'll be able to talk to more folks about them. And so those will be coming down the road. We also have another couple of projects that I can tell you. They're with Methodist. They just, once COVID hit, Methodist kind of pulled back on quite a bit of work in order to focus on the pandemic and focus their efforts, both from a leadership perspective and also some of the work they had. They just wanted to make sure they were focusing the money in the right way. And so we feel like one of those is a MOB and garage down in Sugar Land. We're hopeful that's going to get started up in the near term, and that has 6 months of pre-construction in it, and so we're hoping it can get started in the first quarter of next year. One of them is a larger expansion for Methodist out at Willowbrook, and we don't anticipate that getting restarted in the pre-construction phase until first quarter of next year. And so substantial construction on that wouldn't start until summer or fall of next year. So it's a little further out. We barely even started discussing design before they put us back on hold. So we had a nice couple of months at the beginning of the year, and then they put us on hold. So it's still in the boat. It's coming down. It's just not available right now. The marine side of our business and civil side of our business, those owners are slowly moving towards looking at alternative delivery methods, but they tend to bid a little bit more. So you'll see from that group a little bit more opportunities come along. Our side of the business, we tend to not be in the hard bid market, school markets as often. So I would tell you that when you kind of work with the commercial side, we don't ask for, you may not see anything from us for a couple of months, and subs will call us and say, hey, I didn't see anything. Did I drop off your list? And we just may not have anything. So we tend to chase the bigger jobs, and they're negotiated. And so we only have a couple jobs a year. So we may call you about one, and then, call you a couple months later about the same thing. And so, but we do budget those jobs for, that Methodist job has a 3-year pre-construction effort on it. So we'll be asking for budgets for, the course of 3 years at various points to, help us with different pricing aspects. And so it's a little bit unusual. Just some of our competitors, they're out there bidding a school or something smaller every single month, and so you get used to that rhythm. And we're just a little bit different in that we're not going to be sending you 6 jobs to look at every month. So we're a little bit different in that way. But once you've followed the forms with Kamisha and we've kind of learned about you and we've done pre-qualification and stuff, you're on the list, and you'll start seeing transmissions from us, and we'll start working with you.
Okay, I have a question for either Judah or Adil. What separates a successful subcontractor with McCarthy from one that struggles?
I would tell you in the initial phase, we're not looking for you to spend money on us, but getting by to say hello and separate yourself. We get a lot of proposals on come bid day or solicitations, and we don't know you from Adam, and it's just a piece of paper. But the folks who come by and say, hey, I'd like to meet you, like to tell you a little bit about my company, and you try to introduce themselves and, give us their references and whatnot. And they start to, become a little bit more of a relationship. That definitely helps you when we're scoping out, and, we know there's a little bit more of a relationship there. But I'll tell you, once you're out in the field, from an ops perspective, if my superintendents and project managers, aren't getting quality work from you, if you're not producing out in the field, it's real hard for me to make a recommendation of a subcontractor who's not, performing good work. And so definitely performing in the field is a must. And those are the guys that, our superintendents can come right back in, and they can, they'll be your champion every day of the week if they come back in and tell me that, this guy's the best guy, I got to have him on every job.
Yes, I second that. The engagement piece for us is extremely important. I would say it's harder for me to yell at someone when I know what they look like. So it's always good when you get to know someone on a more personal level. And then on the operation side as well, in addition to quality and schedule, safety is a big aspect of what we do. And we will have our safety teams, our safety departments review subcontractors and essentially score and assess them. And if there is a subcontractor that has had more than their fair share of safety incidents, then that is something that we will blacklist the subcontractor for. So, safety is paramount to us. So we want to make sure that the trade partners that we're engaging in are our partners, and that they're going to buy into the safety culture that we believe in.
Great.
I would offer on the safety, though, just like Kamisha was kind of saying, we're looking to provide growth and sustainability in that. And so when we find a subcontractor who maybe has a low score, we have our folks dig into that to see, are they maybe they messed up the calculation, so maybe there's something there. Or maybe, we have a lot of data analytics. We're a big company, lots of resources. And sometimes we take those as mentorship opportunities to maybe help that smaller company. And, we do a lot of data analytics about hand injuries or other things. And so sometimes we take that as an opportunity to shepherd those smaller companies and say, hey, you got a bad score because you guys are getting a lot of hand injuries. Maybe we can help you implement a better program, for your future to help your employees and help us, because you are a good partner. We just need to see better safety from you. And so we want to create that growth and, help our partners become safer as well.
I don't see any questions. Do you, Gabriella?
No, I do not see questions, but normally that's happened when people are a little bit shy, but I have questions. So for example, I know, Kamisha, you are, I don't want to call it the gatekeeper, but people need to communicate with you. How do you think people who are listening to this presentation, what do you think are the steps for them to get more involved with McCarthy, since it's all about relationship building? And during this COVID situation, it's kind of hard to have that one-on-one. I mean, hopefully next year we're all going to see each other, but how do you create that? I know construction is still going on, as I mentioned before, we know that. But how do you recommend? Is it something that they need to go first and register as a vendor? Do they need to communicate with you? What do you suggest?
So good question. I agree. I try not to use the phrase gatekeeper and more bridge builder. I do understand that sometimes when you don't know an organization and you're a smaller minority-owned business, definitely when you have a role like mine, it's very easy to see me as your advocate and your way in. And that is certainly who I and the rest of our team is. The great thing about McCarthy is that all of our team members are extremely accessible. So what I want everyone to know on this call is, one of the reasons why we listed our team and we listed who leads up those teams is because we want you to be able to talk to us about what services you provide. and what you're interested in relation to the work that we provide. But good ways to start good conversations with us. Be really clear about what you do and also have some general idea of what we do. We don't build everything. We're not in every market. So the more that you know about us and you're engaging in conversations about those types of things, the more fluid those conversations will be. We certainly understand that there are trade partners and other GCs that have a really robust portfolio of types of services that they can perform. But a lot of times when you're just getting started, the best conversation with us is tell me what you do the best. So if you do a whole lot of things, but most of your revenue comes from, let's say, trade, talk to Judah and our commercial team about that electrical trade, what you've done, some past projects that you've done, some references so that we can have a real conversation about an entry path. We can always expand the work that we do with you, but just really starting with where you're best at is a good space in. And like both Judah and Adil said, relationships are important. We will send you information after meetings like this. You may send us a sheet around your capabilities or things like that. You may go ahead and complete the pre-qual. The virtual time, while it's been a little distracting in some ways, because I miss being able to see my project teams on a regular basis. I miss being able to see trade partners on a regular basis. But the other thing that is created is more time to engage. I can easily jump on a Zoom or a Blue Jean or whatever the fancy one is we're using for the day, because I don't have to drive an hour to get to you, and carve out that window to have a conversation and just kind of plan it out. If you know you want to talk to us about something, reach out to me. I'm happy to coordinate, but also reset those local relationships already. Or and after that, after you bid with us, my last closing statement would be is after you've bid with us, be sure to get a debrief. If you aren't successful, give us some time to finish going through the bid process, because a lot of times we can't share information until we fully award it. But get that debrief, find out what went right. Maybe you were only a couple of dollars away and that person was low price and best value. So find out what you could have done to make that more successful, and also just kind of remember the ethos of our different business lines. Our commercial side of our business, again, we're not going to chase a ton of work. Don't think that means that we've excluded you in some way. Be patient and understand how we pursue work, and just become a part of that process. And on the civil heavy marine side, that's going to be a little bit different. You're going to see more. Transparent with us about your availability and what you can do. So that was a mouthful, but that's what I'd say.
So we have a great question from Rosalind Wyatt. My company is a sustainability green building consulting firm that handles project management for many different types of green building certifications. Do you have any upcoming projects, or do you work on many projects that are seeking any green building certifications, including LEED, WELL, or others?
So Judah.
So we've used green building consultants in the past. Depending on the project, we find value in that service. So we've definitely used that in the past. A couple of those projects, I shall not speak their name because I signed a contract. They actually they do have some certifications and/or LEED associated with them. So I would pester me, which my email is on the presentation, and you know, pester me in the upcoming months once that's available. And I think, you know, that's something that's a service we definitely will need, and I think we will contract out. Occasionally we'll do it in-house, but definitely as LEED has become more, it's just gotten more strenuous, and there's more criteria and there's more things to manage. It is a service we find value in going ahead and contracting with. So definitely something we'd be interested in.
Then we have a question from our very own Jessica Vasquez. Where can we find upcoming bid opportunities? Is it posted on your website?
We don't have a place where we post bid opportunities. They just change so frequently for us. Honestly, I send people to, I tell subs frequently to just ping Andrew Rupp or James Rickaway on kind of a monthly basis. Shoot them an email, say, hey, what's going on, what's coming up, and shoot them an email or call them on the phone. And I'm sure kind of a deal handles it in a similar way. I think just staying close to estimators or the leads over there that are, kind of in the know, they're going to know when something pops up. So if something might have not even been on radar, but then, hey, a wharf job just kind of popped up out of nowhere for a deal in his team. And so it's coming up in 2 weeks. And so I think just kind of checking in with guys on a monthly basis and kind of creating that relationship, you're going to figure out when something's coming up so you can make a hole for it in your bid calendar.
And our very own Deidre Sutton asked, do you have any job order contracts? If so, with whom?
We're going to. So in Dallas, we've signed 4 things, such as mobile trailers, fences, concrete pumps, a whole bunch of them. We signed $0 purchase orders with a lot of those kind of vendors. We kind of negotiate what your prices will be. And then that way we have the contract all taken care of and we have the insurance all taken care of. And some of those contracts extend statewide. We're slowly trying to move those services down here. And it allows our superintendents to much easier just execute with, the multiple folks, and they can just go through those. We do have multiples, so we're not exclusive to just one mobile trailer vendor or one concrete supplier, but it does allow them to execute when we need to mobilize very quickly and we need temp fence or perimeter protection or something of that nature. They can just go ahead and jump on that. So we do have that, and it's something that we're trying to roll out here in Houston as well.
Okay, so we have another question from Nora Monsiváis. She says, does McCarthy use staffing agencies / suppliers for your projects, i.e. general laborers? If so, how can we get on board with McCarthy? Who do we contact?
I believe we do. I am going to say that Kamisha is going to follow back up with an answer on that. That's really, we do use them. That is really handled through our operations side of the business and through our superintendent and staffing side of the business. We try to hire most of our own professionals, hourly folks, and we have a very extensive training program. So we hire into that, but on occasion, yes, we hire staffing agencies and labor through those folks. And so I would say get a hold of Kamisha, and she can put you in the right with the right vice president of operations in what city you're trying to get with, and they can kind of put you in touch with the right people. But that was one question earlier. Just you might get a hold of one of us, and it might feel like you're getting a runaround, but we'll listen to your spiel. And sometimes our answer is going to be, this sounds great, and we can probably utilize it, but I need you to then talk to this person. And so we are kind of a big organization, and we have different people who handle different aspects. So sometime you're going to talk to me, and I'm going to tell you, you probably need to talk to my superintendent. That's a better guy to talk to, or you need to talk to Kamisha, or you need to talk to my vice president of operations. So, but we'll try to get you pointed in the right direction.
And Kamisha, if McCarthy has any opportunities that have, say, MBE or DBE goals or have goals associated with them, be sure to send it to us so we can disseminate it to our clients. many of whom are highly qualified. So, so it's a good group to reach out to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
one
also-
thing I'd like to just add before we wrap this up is, we've got a fair amount of work that we do with Port of Houston. And for those subs and vendors that are on the phone, if you're not registered as a small business with Port of Houston, please do so. They've got a pretty straightforward and easy process for certification. They do not certify themselves. They basically will approve or will recognize certifications from City of Houston, Metro, so on and so forth. So definitely try to get the Port of Houston certification. That makes the process a lot easier and simpler, because typically when we're looking at these projects, they may have anywhere from a 2-week window to a 6-week window for bidding. So it's pretty short. And if you're not signed on or do not have the certification at the time of bid, it's usually a challenge trying to get it before bid date. So, and the Port of Houston is really good because they make it a requirement that we provide a listing of the subcontractors and vendors that we plan on using, as well as the small business BBE vendors that we plan on utilizing. And there are some letter of intents that we have to provide with our proposal so that we can't switch those around after the fact. And so they've got a very good program in place, but in order for that to work, the subcontractors, the vendors need to have their certifications before bid date. And so I strongly encourage everyone, if you're not signed up with the Port of Houston is looking to spend a tremendous amount of money here over the next 5 years. They've got some really big CapEx projects out there. And we'd love to kind of be utilizing you folks on some of these projects that are upcoming.
And now can I do a shameless pitch? I was going to say, if we have any of our clients or anyone who want to come with MBDA, we have our own Deidre Sutton, which she helps our clients to sign up either with the Port of Houston, Metro. And this is something that right now, since during COVID time, you're spending more time with the computer, you can actually do a lot of this back office work and to get ready. Because like Adil said, once Port of Houston opens the bid, you have to do it fast. And these are the things that we can actually help you, guide you. We have a great procurement guide that we can walk you through. And I hate doing the shameless pitch, but I always like to encourage. There's so many places where our subcontractors need to go and register as a vendor, become certified, and we want to help them navigate through this process. So thank you, Adil, for mentioning that. Mark, do we have more questions?
No, I think we've answered all the questions.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know, Commissioner, Adil, Judah, you guys want to say like one last word before we wrap up? Are you guys good? Okay. So the things I want to tell everyone, thank you, Commissioner, Adil, and Judah, for doing this. Commissioner is going to send us an updated PowerPoint presentation with her contact information. We'll share with the applicants. We're going to post this in our YouTube channel. So hopefully if you want to go back and try to remember who's in charge of what, that's going to be a great resource. And I want to thank you guys because this is a great opportunity for subcontractors and for you guys to take your time, even during lunchtime. I know we don't have an actual sandwich, but I appreciate you guys showing up and trying to include as many minority-owned companies out there. So thank you very much, everyone. And if you guys have anything, feel free to send us an email at mbda@hccs.edu. We'll get out your questions, and if you need anything, and I appreciate everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.